Hello friends, this video on electromagnetic induction part 7 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 6 before going ahead with part 7. Now let us go ahead and discuss the methods of producing EMF in detail. I told you in one of the previous slides, right, that there are three ways by which we can produce EMF. One is by changing the magnetic field. Second is by changing the area, and third is by changing the orientation between magnetic field and area. So here we will discuss each of them in detail, that how is it that by changing magnetic field we are able to produce EMF. So that is what is our purpose here. So after we finish off with that, then we'll go ahead and solve some problems. So let us look at the first case where we produce EMF by varying the magnetic field. Let us consider the same scenario so that it becomes easier for you to understand. Let us suppose this is the coil, the same coil which we had. What's happening here? As you bring the magnet near the coil, the magnetic field associated with the coil is also changing. So even with your mathematical expression, you can say that the magnetic flux, what is flux? Flux is nothing but B A cos theta. It is B dot A, right? So if you change the strength of the magnetic field, if you first increase it, then decrease it, what will happen? The value of your flux will also change, and whenever there is a change in flux will result in induced EMF. Right? So by changing the strength of the magnetic field, we are able to produce induced EMF. So let us look at the second case where we produce EMF by varying the area. So what do I mean when I say by changing the area? When I talk of area, I talk about the area which is under the magnetic field. So if the area within the magnetic field is changing, then there will be an EMF induced. So it is very much clear from the expression. I don't really need to explain much. From this, you can easily say that, okay, if the value of A is changing, that means value of phi will change. And since phi is changing, that is flux is changing. So EMF is getting induced. Right? That looks simple. But here we will see how does it actually affect it? We will try to see it mathematically. So we will look at many different cases of the same scenario where we will see that the area is getting changed in many different ways. We will consider the case of a rectangular loop at first. Here you can see that this is your region of magnetic field where you have a perpendicular downward magnetic field. This is a rectangular loop. So what happens as the loop moves through this magnetic field? Now if the loop starts moving, it enters the magnetic field and moves out of the magnetic field. So what phenomenon will take place? If you look at it, as the loop moves, initially there is no magnetic field here, right? From where it is starting. Now as soon as this loop enters the magnetic field, the moment it enters here, it experiences a change. That is, there is a change in magnetic field at this boundary. When this rectangular loop is crossing the boundary, there is a change in flux. Now, after the loop entered completely, the duration for which it traveled from here till here, there was again no change in the magnetic flux. But again, while leaving this magnetic field region, there was again a decrease in flux, because as soon as it leaves this magnetic field, the area inside the field keeps decreasing. So when the area keeps decreasing, your flux also keeps decreasing. So that means, what do we see? We see that at both the boundaries, there is a change in area. That means the area of the loop under the magnetic field that undergoes a change at both the boundaries. Therefore, at both the boundaries, there is a change in flux. Therefore, there is an induced current which is set up in the circuit at the boundaries. So this rectangular coil, if you attach a galvanometer to this coil, things will become even simpler for you. Let us suppose if you attach a galvanometer here. So you will see that the galvanometer deflects at these two boundaries. When the loop crosses both the boundaries while entering and while leaving the magnetic field, the galvanometer deflects. That means current gets induced only as only at those boundaries where it experiences a change. When the entire loop is moving inside the magnetic field, there is no change in flux, therefore there is no current induced. Similarly, when the entire loop is moving outside the magnetic field, there is no change in flux, therefore no current induced. But at the boundary, since there is a change in area, that is the area inside the magnetic field, that area experiences a change, therefore there is a deflection which is observed in the galvanometer. That is, there is an induced current which is set up in the rectangular coil. Now let us look at it with the help of expressions. So now let us consider this is the region of magnetic field. So we have this region of magnetic field and there is a loop which is leaving this magnetic field. So this is my magnetic field. So here what we will try to do, we will try to look at this aspect of it mathematically. That is, we will mathematically see that what happens when the area changes, then how do we calculate induced EMF? I mean, however, it remains the same, but we will just try to look at an alternative expression for induced EMF. And there is a special name that we give to this kind of EMF. We call them as motional EMF because this EMF is induced due to the motion of the conductor. So in this case also, because of we saw in the previous slide, right, because of the motion of the rectangular loop inside and out of the magnetic field, the EMF got induced. So whenever the EMF gets induced due to the motion of the conductor, we call that induced EMF as motional EMF. So here what we are trying to do is we are basically trying to find out an expression for motional EMF. Now let us suppose that this is my conductor, right? So this conductor is moving out of this magnetic field with some velocity v, such that the portion which is still inside is x and this width of the conductor is L, right? So these are the values which are known to me. Now what happens? Let us suppose that in small time delta t, the loop covers a distance delta x. In small time delta t, it travels a small distance delta x. So what is the decrease in area? Because as the loop is traveling, the area inside the magnetic field is actually decreasing. So decrease in area is equal to L into delta x, right? Since the area is decreasing, therefore we will put a negative sign here. Now because of this decrease in area, there will be a decrease in flux. So let us denote that with d phi. So what will be the decrease in flux? It will be nothing but magnetic field into change in area. So that will be minus BL delta x. So this would be the decrease in flux. So because of this decrease in flux, the EMF will be induced. So we can say that the induced EMF E is equal to minus d phi by dt. From Faraday-Lenz law, we already know that. So we can say that this will be equal to d by dt of BL delta x. So in this, delta x is the only quantity which is changing with time. So we can write it as BL delta x by delta t. We can write it like this. Now what is delta x by delta t or what is dx by dt? It is nothing but velocity, right? So we can write that induced EMF is equal to BLV. So since this EMF arises due to the motion of the conductor, so this is known as motional EMF. So what would be the induced current? This is induced EMF. So the induced current that would be produced will be equal to I E by R, where R is the resistance of the loop. So this will be equal to BLV divided by R. So in this case, the induced current appeared only because area in the field changed. So this motional EMF comes into picture when the area of the loop within the magnetic field changes. So area of a loop generally changes when the loop is moving. There has to be a motion involved with that. That is why we call it as motional EMF. Now we will look at a few more scenarios of motional EMF, because in this case we have considered that there is a complete loop which is moving inside the magnetic field. So when the loop is undergoing the change, that is when the magnetic flux is changing, only at that time EMF is induced. Once the entire loop is inside the magnetic field, at that point of time there is no induced current. Similarly, when the entire loop is out of the magnetic field, there is no induced current. Right? So now, and what would be the direction of induced current? That I have already discussed in my previous slides, right? You can find that using Lenz's law, and you can also try it with Fleming's right hand rule. So choosing the convention is up to you. Whichever you find simple and easy, you can go for that. Right? Now I will talk a few more cases of motional EMF, because many a times you come across problems which confuse people. Many students get confused with different type of problems related to motional EMF. So that is why I will discuss few more scenarios of motional EMF. Now this scenario is clear, right? This scenario is about a loop which is moving as a whole. Now if this loop, instead of coming out of the magnetic field, if the loop is entering inside the magnetic field, in that case the direction of the velocity will be opposite. So in that case also current will get induced, and your induced EMF will be given by the same expression, just that the direction of induced current will become opposite. Right? So let us look at. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.